Now, when we think about floods, we imagine water rising, inundating homes, destroying crops, sweeping people away. But have you ever thought about what happens after the water recedes? That's a story most people don't see. It's a story of loss and resilience, of picking up the pieces and starting over. Rivers overflowed, dams collapsed, roads disappeared, fields became lakes and houses turned into islands. Millions of people were affected. Countless lives were disrupted, and somewhere in Sindh province, a young man named Nabi faced the biggest challenge of his life. Nabi was a bright kid, loved reading books, excelled in his classes. He dreamed of going to university, studying hard, getting a job, and making his family proud. You see, Nobby's family struggled with poverty. His father worked as a casual laborer. His mother raised chickens and goats. Education was a luxury they couldn't afford. Nobby knew this, so he spent his free time at the local library, absorbing knowledge like a sponge. He was determined to break the cycle of poverty, not just for himself, but for his entire community. Then one day, a government official visited their school and announced scholarships for deserving students. Nobby jumped at this opportunity. He studied relentlessly, hoping to secure a scholarship. Finally, the results arrived. Nobby had won the scholarship, full tuition fee waiver for university. As he packed his bags, Nobby's mother handed him a worn-out Quran, his father's prized possession. "May it guide you," she said, her voice trembling. Little did Nobby know that his journey was about to become even more challenging. Arriving in Karachi, Nobby realized how unprepared he was. Just when he thought he couldn't take it anymore, he saw a familiar face. It was Usman, another student from his village, who had also received a scholarship. "Come with me," Usman said, sensing Nobby's confusion. "I'll show you around." Usman constantly mocked him, calling him country bumpkin and making fun of his traditional clothes. "You look like you're here to beg," Usman sneered, pulling Nobby's sleeve. But Nobby remained silent, hurt and humiliated. He clutched the Quran for comfort, finding solace in its verses. Finally, they reached the university. As Nobby stepped through the grand gates, he felt a surge of pride. Tall buildings, lush green lawns, students speaking fluent English. It was like entering a different world. But amidst the grandeur, Nobby's confidence wavered. He noticed students arriving in fancy cars, wearing expensive clothes and carrying sleek laptops. Some even had bodyguards by their side. Nabi, with his old books and simple clothes, felt out of place. When Usman introduced Nabi to his friends, their laughter echoed across the courtyard. "He looks like he's here to steal our books," one of them joked, and they all burst into laughter. Nabi felt a lump forming in his throat. For the first time, he questioned his place in that environment. Later, as he sat in his dormitory, surrounded by strangers, Nobby's mind raced. Thoughts of leaving, of giving up, of returning home consumed him. He missed his family, his friends, the familiar sights and sounds of his village. But then he closed his eyes, remembering the floods, the poverty, the hunger, and he told himself, "I did not come this far to stop now." With renewed determination, he opened his books, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The next few months were a blur of activity for Nabi. He attended classes, met new people, made some friends, and started his journey toward earning a degree in civil engineering. But university life was not as easy as he thought. Many of his classmates looked down upon him because of his simple background. They made fun of his accent, his clothes, and even his lunchbox. Yet Nabi persevered, focusing on his studies and proving his intelligence with every test and assignment. Professors took notice of him. They saw a bright, hard-working student who was not afraid of challenges, so they gave him extra projects, hoping to nurture his talent. Nabi threw himself into his work, spending long hours in the library and the lab. He participated in engineering competitions, winning prizes and accolades for his innovative ideas. While Nabi excelled academically, he also faced personal struggles. Adjusting to city life was tough. He missed the simplicity of his village, the warmth of his family, and the innocence of his childhood friends. There were times when he felt overwhelmed, homesick, and alone. He longed for a slice of home in the middle of the city. It was during one of these moments that Nabi stumbled upon a vibrant corner of the city. Tucked away from the bustling streets, he found a bakery that smelled like freshly baked bread, a bookstore that held countless adventures, and a quaint cafe where stories unfolded over cups of tea. Nabi felt a sense of belonging wash over him. This place was like a hidden gem, a sanctuary from the chaos of the city. He started visiting it often, finding solace in its quiet corners. One rainy afternoon, as Nabi sat sipping hot chocolate in the cafe, he noticed a girl sitting at a table by the window. The soft light of the cafe fell on her face, highlighting her beautiful features. Her hair was neatly tied, her eyes were bright, and her lips had a sweet smile. Nabi couldn't help but admire her. He had never seen anyone like her before. Over time, Nabi's feelings grew stronger. He found himself thinking about her often, wondering who she was and wanting to know more. One day, gathering all his courage, Nabi decided to approach her. He walked up to her table and introduced himself. The girl smiled warmly and introduced herself as Aisha. As the weeks passed, Nabi and Aisha became inseparable. They would spend hours talking about their dreams, fears, and aspirations. He learned that Aisha was from a well-off family. Her father was a successful businessman, and her mother was a renowned doctor. Despite her privileged background, Aisha was humble, kind, and compassionate. She had a way of making everyone feel special. Their friendship deepened, and soon Nabi found himself falling in love with her. He cherished their moments together, the walks in the park, the shared laughter, and the quiet companionship. Aisha reciprocated his feelings, and they started dating. However, their happiness was short-lived. One day, Aisha stopped coming to the cafe. Nabi was worried. He tried calling her, but her phone went straight to voicemail. Confused and heartbroken, Nabi decided to visit her house. When he arrived, he was met with a scene that shattered him. The house was buzzing with activity. There were decorations everywhere, and guests were arriving in luxury cars. Nabi managed to speak to Isha's mother, who informed him that Isha was getting married. "But Isha loves Nabi," he exclaimed, his voice cracking. Mrs. Sadiqa shook her head. "We've arranged her marriage with a wealthy businessman's son. It's a good match for her." Nabi felt as if the ground had been pulled from under his feet. He couldn't believe what he was hearing. He had fallen in love with Aisha thinking it was mutual, only to find out that she was getting married to someone else. That night, Nabi poured his heart out to his friends. They listened patiently, offering words of comfort and support. But deep down, Nabi knew that nothing could mend the broken pieces of his heart. Days turned into weeks, and the pain in Nabi's heart only intensified. He couldn't understand why fate had played such a cruel joke on him. He had worked so hard to be worthy of Aisha's love, only to lose her in the end. One evening, as Nabi sat by the river, Aisha's face suddenly popped into his head. He quickly grabbed his bike and headed towards her house. But as he turned the corner, he saw a wedding procession passing by. Nabi's heart sank. The bride looked beautiful, but he knew that she was marrying someone else. The sight of Aisha walking away with her new family filled Nabi with an unbearable sadness. That day, Nabi realized that his love for Aisha would always be unfulfilled. It was a love that could never be his. Over time, Nabi's thoughts of Aisha faded, but the pain lingered. He graduated from university, got a job, and moved to a bigger city. However, he never forgot the bittersweet memories he shared with Aisha. He often wondered what if things had turned out differently. What if their paths hadn't crossed? Or what if their love had conquered all the odds? But life had a way of keeping us guessing. Now, let's think about it. Does this story remind you of anyone you know, or maybe even your own experiences? Well, comment down below. Let's talk about it. And don't forget to like and share for more insightful stories. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.